This is the second part of our review, 3B. The next 2 pages, hopefully I'll be able to fit on this video. Sometimes I talk a little much, I know that, so I'm going to make sure I get straight to the point so you don't have to keep watching another video. We are on number 10. Number 10, again, is another word problem, and it reads, Ralph finishes his first lap in the 200-meter freestyle event in 28.76 seconds. Okay, so I think we should probably highlight that when you're reading through. Make sure you underline the numbers. He completed his second lap in 30.17 seconds. Now we're wondering, by how much did his time increase? So the increased time in his second lap. So we want to find the difference between his first lap time and his second lap time. So what we're going to do is subtract. It's just a plain old subtraction problem. Subtract 28.76 from 30.17. Set it up just like this. Make sure you are lining up your decimals again, since this is a subtraction problem with decimals. 7 minus 6 is just 1. We can't subtract 7 from 1, so again we have to borrow. Nothing to borrow from there, so continue your borrowing. Now this would be an 11. 11 minus 7 is 4. 9 minus 8 is 1. 2 minus 2 is 0. So we have an answer of 1.41. Now our hint is to make sure we label our answer. That means going back, reading our problem, and figuring out what exactly we were asked to find out. So we were trying to find out how much time increase was his second lap. So how much longer was his second lap than his first lap? So we would write, he increased. I just like to use the words that they give us in our problem, just basically mirroring that question. He increased his time by 1.41, and we are talking seconds here, so it's going to be to write seconds. So our final answer should just be, he increased his time by 1.41 seconds. Now go on to our next question. Number 11. An apple pie has 27.6 grams of fat, and it's cut into 6 slices. So how many grams of fat are there in 2 slices? Now we know it's 27.6 grams of fat total in this entire pie, and it's cut into 6 slices. So what we want to find out first, now this again is another multi-step problem. We want to find out how many grams of fat per slice this apple pie has. So we're going to divide our 27.6 by 6. So 6 is our divisor because we're dividing into something. And that's the number we use. 27.6 should be on the inside of that division house. We don't have to do any swooping because our divisor is a whole number, no decimals there. So we're finding out how many times 6 goes into 27, because 6 cannot go into 2. So 6 can go into 27 4 times. 6 times 4 is 24. We end up with 3. Bring that 6 down. Now our decimal place right here, we have to bring that up at decimal point so we know where it should be in our quotient, which is the answer after we have divided. Now we're seeing how many times 6 goes into 36, which is just 6 times. So now we know that per slice, there's 4.6 grams of fat. Now we're trying to figure out 2 slices, so you can either multiply 4.6 by 2, figure out that answer, or you can add 4.6 plus 4.6, which whatever you wanted to do, either way is going to be the same thing. I just added. I like adding more than multiplying. I feel like it's a little bit less work. So let's see, 6 plus 6 is 12. 4 plus 4 is 8. 1 more is 9. So there is 9.2 grams of fat in 2 slices. Again, we're making sure we use the context of the problem and making it a complete sentence as we're writing that on there. Now, number 12. Jordan uses 32.46 gallons of gas to drive his SUV, a total of 584.28 miles. This is gallons and this is miles. How many miles? That's what we're trying to figure out. So that will be what we use to write our answer. did Jordan get per gallon? Now you think about when you're filling up, or if your parents fill up their gas tank, you usually want to figure out how many miles per gallon they're getting. So what you actually do is you take your total miles driven, 584.28, and you're dividing that by the amount of gallons that you had in your car, 32.46 there. Now again, since our divisor has a decimal, we need to swoop that over twice to the left, or twice to the right, excuse me. Do the same thing in the inside as you do on the outside. Bring that decimal place up. So now we're dividing 58,428 by 3,246. Now it can't go, 3,246 can't go into 5, 58, 584, but it can go into 5,842. And that is just one time. So we're bringing down 3,246, subtracting, and you end up getting 2,596. Now we bring down this 8. Now this might take you guys a couple times to figure out how many times 3,246 can go into 25,968. Ends up being a total of 8 times. Okay, and 3,246 goes into that number 8 times evenly. We get that 0 left over. So now we go back to our original problem to see what the context we actually need to use while we're writing our sentence. So the context of the problem would be, we'd say Jordan got 18 miles per gallon. What we are asked, our question was how many miles did Jordan get? So we are answering mirroring that question as a statement saying Jordan got 18 miles per gallon. Now the last page, we only have a couple problems left. Olivia had $10.25 when she went to the mall, and when she got home she only had $2.39 left. So this is what she started with, and this is what she came home with. Now we want to figure out how much did she spend. So this is just a subtraction problem. 10.25 minus 2.39. Now since this is decimals and we are subtracting, again, remember to line up those decimal places. That's the main concern here, making sure we line up those decimal places. So we'll subtract, can't subtract 9 from 5, so we are going to borrow there. 6, 9, so 11. There, bring that decimal down. $7.86. So we would write, we're asking how much, we were asked how much Olivia spent. So we'd say Olivia spent $7.86 at mall. Pretty easy problem there, just subtraction, making sure we use the right context. Now the last section is numerical response. And we need to show all of our work and circle and box your final answer. The same description is going to be on your test tomorrow or on Tuesday, depending on when you're watching this. So our first one is to estimate. We want to estimate 62.6 plus 10.2 by rounding, the main here, rounding to the nearest integer. That integer, we need to remember, whole numbers. We don't want any decimals here. So when we're rounding, we'd round 62, we look at that 0.6, so we'd add 1 there, since 6 is bigger than 5, so it's going to be 63. Now we look at our 10.2, there. It's not going to do anything there since it is less than 10, so we would just 63 plus 10, which ends up being 64. Oops, excuse me. 74. Oh. What am I doing? 73 is what our answer should be. You guys are thinking I'm probably crazy. 73. So our answer is approximately 73. Make sure you have those two little squigglies, but that's in the approximation sign because we are estimating here. So it's not an exact answer. So when we round that 62.6 plus 10.2, we get roughly 73. Now we're using compatible numbers to estimate 50.2 and negative 5.1. Now we have to remember when we're dividing, we want to pick numbers that are easy where we won't get any remainders. So I would round my 50.2 to 50 and my negative 5.1 to 5. Negative 5 right there. So now we know that our answer would be a negative 10, a negative because they're different signs and we're dividing. So our answer is approximately negative 10. Now for 16, we're dividing 22.104 by 2, so 2 on the outside, 22.104 on the inside, don't have to do any swooping. 2 goes into 2 once, 2 goes into this 2 once, nothing left over, bring up that decimal place. 2 goes into 1 0 times, but 2 goes into 10 5 times, and 2 goes into 4 2 times. Now that was a little bit of shorthand division, but your answer should be 11.052. We can talk more about that shorthand division in class later. So your answer should be 11 and 52,000. Now the next one we're asked to determine if the numbers are equivalent, and our numbers are 4.35 or 4 and 35 hundredths and 30 over 5. Now I would change my 30 over 5, that improper fraction, to a mixed number. And 5 goes into 30 6 times, so that's really just 6. Now, are 6 and 4.35 equivalent? No, they are not. So we would write no, really big. No, no, no. Definitely not. Now our last two are just writing fractions as decimals and decimals as fractions. So our first one is 8 over 55. So that's just saying 8 divided by 55. So our second number in that expression goes on the outside of our division house. Go into 8 there. Now 55 can't go into 8, so I add a 0 and a decimal. Bring that decimal place up. 55 goes into 80 one time. Down. You end up with 25. Add a 0. Bring it down. 55 goes into 250 4 times, making that 220. 30, add a 0, bring it down. 55 goes into 35 times, making that 275. 25 there. Again, now we're going to see that it's going to be a repeated decimal. So our answer is actually 0.145 repeating, but the only part that actually repeats is that 4, 5. So if we were to rewrite this, just continuing on a little bit, it'd be 0.145, 4, 5, 4, 5, 4, 5, and on and on and on. So only that 4, 5 repeats. So we just put the repeat symbol over that line, over the 4 and the 5, not the 1. Now, last but not least, we are writing 0.295 as a fraction. Now, the way you read it is the way you write it. So it's 295 thousandths is what that decimal is. So we have 295 over 1,000. Now, that is a fraction. We did write that decimal as a fraction, but it's not simplified. We can divide both these numbers by 5, and we knew that because 295 ends in a 5 and 1,000 ends in a 0. So we know if anything ends in a 5 or a 0, we can divide it by 5. Now when we divide both these numbers by 5, we end up getting 59 over 200, which is our final answer there. Well, hopefully you guys watched this and it helped you out and you got to fix anything you needed to fix. If you still have any questions, bring them to class and we will discuss them before our test. So good luck and study hard.